welcome to this week's episode of So Fired. I'm Chelsea Toronto.
I'm Dr. Lindsay here.
And hello. What's going on?
Oh my gosh, so much, I guess.
Yeah.
So much is so little all at the same time.
That's right.
Well, I was on vacation. I went to Texas.
Yeah.
It rained a lot, but it was a fun time. The wedding was gorgeous. It was fun to see Austin in his element with his friends. Yeah. I have a So Fired moment.
Please.
Kind of frivolous, but I had to get my nails done last minute.
Yeah.
They have gel on them. And my nails, I realized, are so brittle. Like, they're literally bending when I'm washing my hair. Like, that cannot be good.
Oh, no.
So,
Is this a PSA for a dip?
this is a PSA that I think I'm going to try press-on nails. And let my real nails grow. Or just go back to dip. Like, I think this is a turning point in my life where I'm like, maybe I should let my nails kind of like be natural underneath and not like shave them down every 2 weeks to put more polish on top. So I don't know. I think I'm going to try out like a press-on nail situation and see how that works. Yeah.
Or are we going back to gel?
Or back to dip. Yeah. But I'm going to take it as a new opportunity to try something new.
That's a good So Fired.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow. Yesterday was the anniversary of my dad's death. And I received a text from a customer of mine that I sold a jacket to.
Oh.
This customer, though, you might remember this customer is calling my jacket a hack.
Yep.
Okay. I got a text that said, traveling to LA, wearing your jacket at 2 different points of just boarding, 2 different women commented how amazing my jacket was.
Wow. That's exciting.
It was. And I took it to mean, even from the grave, my father's like, you're still good at fashion. Do it.
Does that make you want to make more jackets?
Yeah, I guess so. I have really been thinking about it. I was thinking that if I could pick up and resume sewing by the end of the year, I would be really pumped.
Your patent is still pending?
Yeah, I'm still paying the bill.
Okay. So once the bill is paid, then the patent
No,
will be dead?
I don't know if that's the case. I hope it is. But I am making payments. This is a weekly payment plan, and it is killing me.
Well, patents cost money. If you want to license it
I have
and make more
still
money.
$5,000 left on my bill.
Damn.
Damn.
Does the bill keep on getting bigger?
It feels like it. It does. It feels like I'm not chipping away. Yeah. Doesn't it seem like it's getting better? It's not. Anyway.
Well, maybe, you know what we should do today? Because we're on a day of adventures.
Yeah.
We should stop and get some new fabric. I'll pick out fabric for a jacket for me, and you can make me a new jacket.
Wow.
How about that?
Oh, my God.
If that's not inspiring, I don't know
No,
what
it's like, that's real.
Yeah.
All right.
You said you want to get sewing. I need a jacket to wear home for Christmas, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't spend a lot of money. All right. Really. Whoa. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to consider this year a success.
Okay.
What? So, if yesterday was the anniversary of my dad's dying, the day before was Halloween. So,
Yeah.
now that Halloween's over.
Now that Halloween's over, I'm going to be breaking out the Christmas decor. I'm going to go get my snowboard today.
I'm coming with you.
You're coming with me. I'm ready for winter. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for all things like holiday season-y. Because why not?
I, for the first time, feel like Halloween over, year over. Like, let's do a year recap.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like let's beat everyone to it because it's already like, hey, let's circle back to this after the New Year season, if you will. It's like, I don't even feel like we're doing the last 2 months in the quarter.
It does appear that way. But I feel like in my life right now, I'm in like hustle mode and go mode to like really end the year super strong because the rest of the year was a little lackluster, honestly. And I want to like end the year on a high note.
I do too. So what would that look like? Not just your business. If you had to say the following items were accomplished or just,
Yeah.
what would a successful year look like?
I know. Well, my success is always tied to how much money I make and how many activities I'm doing and adventures I'm going on. Okay. So, I mean, I'm going somewhere for Thanksgiving, somewhere for Christmas. So that's
Where are you
like
going for
highlight.
Thanksgiving? Kansas?
Yeah.
I can't watch your dog both days.
That's okay.
I think
I'll dog sit her.
No, I'm going to try and go away. I want to be away. There's like a lot of freedom in traveling. Although Carrie's coming here for Thanksgiving.
So you're not going anywhere.
And I'm like, maybe I could Airbnb it. And get a sitter for my dogs.
Yeah. I should take your dogs with me and then like dog sit my dog. Like
she can stay here. Yeah. That's pretty funny. Actually, the people I'm living with will still be here. It might be okay.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Doggy hotel here while you're gone.
It's like a flop house.
Yeah, I think there's a couple events that I'm really looking forward to coming up in December that I think will end the year on a high note.
What?
There's this like gala for the business bosses at brunch, and Lindsay Schwartz is coming.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
When is that?
I think like the first week in December.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. That'll make the year, end on a high note. And then I've like joined some networking groups. So I'm hoping I can make some like 1 or 2 solid connections before the end of the year and just like revisit those.
These two, okay. I was talking like the examples I was looking for is
Yeah.
like, well, your life is more in a maintenance mode.
Yeah.
Mine's like, have my own place.
Oh, yeah.
Find true. I don't anticipate I'm not putting the pressure of finding true love on myself by the end of the year.
True companionship?
Companionship, like
Okay.
solid companionship.
Yeah.
Yeah, like actively doing all the things.
Yeah.
And having so many numbers I can't even keep track.
Oh, gosh. You're so right. I'm totally on maintenance mode, and you're on.
I'm like, let's start
Let's
over.
some shit up and go.
I wanted to read 52 books this year. I don't know I'm going to make it.
Oh, I'm going to do that by the end of the year.
Of course you beat me at my own goal.
No, let's read some short books. Get off of this book that you're on right now and just
I have to, and I
let
can't
it go.
watch any more TV and or watch anymore. I'm going to actually have to not watch the rest of White Lotus season.
Oh,
Did you watch it at all?
not the new one yet.
Can I say anything about it?
Yeah.
Are you all right with it?
Yeah.
If I say my true feelings?
Yeah.
I rewatched season 1.
Okay.
Loved it.
Yep.
I love it. I love the music. I love the storylines. I can really identify with the hotel thing and just like, and by watching it a second time, I could identify with every character and what they were saying. And at first you're cringe, but you're like, actually, I would kind of say that. Like, I get where she's coming from. I watched, and I just was like still in love with the narrative. Watched season 2, hoping to have the same feeling, even though knowing they were going to be different characters. And I didn't have the same feeling, but I have... One thing I trust the most in this world is HBO. They never let you down.
True. And I think when the first season is so good and you have that expectation that it's going to be just like that, it's not. But you know what? Maybe by the end of the season, you'll be like, this is even better.
Right. Or this is just as good.
Yep.
And I do feel it. Like, the intro music's not the same.
Oh.
And the intro music, like, I was talking about this last night with Jen, like, physically, like, alters the neurons in my body. I have, like, such a physical reaction to the song.
I think I must be selectively deaf because I have literally no idea what the song is, what the intro song is.
Well, certain things motivate us differently.
Yeah.
They hit differently for us.
Yeah. I'm like, I could live in a world of silence.
If I couldn't talk, I think I would have a hard time.
Oh, no.
Listening.
I would say, no, I need to be able to talk. I just don't need to listen to music. Like, I could live without music probably.
You know, I could too.
Yeah.
I'm not a music ride or die, and I hate that I'm that way.
I know.
I wish I was
Same.
more of a music person.
Same. And like with the new Taylor Swift album,
Yeah.
someone was telling me about the lyrics and like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
and honestly, I'll just blend it together in my head. And I
Did you
didn't
listen to the whole thing?
Yeah.
I feel like it's an assignment to listen to a
Yeah.
new
I
whole.
didn't really hear a single lyric. It just all kind of sounded like sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm sewing your new jacket, I'll listen to the
Oh,
album,
there you
and
go.
then I will have an imprint of emotionality.
That's true.
I'm going to weave
That-
Taylor's
yeah.
lyrics into your jacket.
My jacket.
I'm going to sew that loving feeling into yours.
I love that. All right. Well, we have a very exciting show today.
We do. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? This is, like we said a couple weeks ago,
You guys were asking for a guest,
oh yeah, that's a good way to
and
say it.
we're giving you a guest, and I think that this is well worth the wait, and I'm really excited to hear your feedback on it, if you want more episodes like this, and what your takeaways are, because I think that this is going to be a great interview.
It is indeed. So, well, enjoy.
Yep.
Welcome to this week's episode of So Fired. I'm Chelsea Toronto.
I'm Dr. Lindsay Vergeer.
And welcome. This week, we have a very big, very exciting guest, someone that is very near and dear to our heart. It is no other than our biggest, most important podcaster, Kacia. Yay, of EmpowerHER. Hi.
Hi.
You guys, I'm so excited. This is going to be so fun to chat about all the things. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thanks for coming on. We're just fangirling so hardcore and we have to, get through it.
I'm having a hard time, but I brought my like stretchy rubber band thing that like keeps my nervousness at bay. So if you hear some snapping, it's just the good old. Anyway, yay! I can't believe you're here. Yeah, it's so exciting. So congratulations on your very first hugely successful Empower Her weekend. Can you tell us give us
like the big highlight and overall?
Yeah, just give us everything. No.
Yeah, you guys are so sweet. So I think the biggest thing is, and for people listening into this, when you've had a dream on your heart for a really long time and it actually takes longer to get there than you anticipated it would, it actually makes it even more fulfilling when you get there, right? So I started my podcast at the end of 2018, and we had an intention of starting doing live events in 2020, and then obviously life threw some curveballs. So it took us longer to get to this point, just being fully transparent about it. And it was literally the best weekend ever because I was so clear on the feeling that I wanted for the community. I was very clear around just the flow of all of it. I got to really tap into the visionary side of my brain and made sure that I hired and brought in the right people to support that vision, which I think is really important for entrepreneurs that might be listening into this episode of having people in your circle that have the strengths that are your weaknesses. So you really have this whole comprehensive just feeling, and it was incredible. It was better. It was 100 times better than I could have even imagined. And now I'm just excited to do it again.
Okay. Right. Was there any point leading up to the event where you're like, oh shit, this is not working out how I want it to work out? And then did you have to make some pivots?
Yes, 100%. When you're planning a big live event, there's a lot of costs that go into it. So naturally, if you're investing into something and you have to then trust that people are going to show up for it and you're writing a big fat check, that in itself is a beautiful transformation because you're trusting your own intuition that it's going to come to fruition the way that you expect. But leading up to it, there were a couple of quotes that would come back from different vendors. For example, AV for all of the video screens and all the tech side of stuff.
I thought you were about to say your AV gave you a spiritual quote or a meme that you want to know, oh, they would give me these quotes.
Oh, no. They gave me a bit, an invoice that was really freaking huge. That was 3 times more than we expected it was going to be. And I was like, oh shit. So things like that came up. But again, it was a really good opportunity to just trust that it would work out the way that it was supposed to. And also to really step into my own power of being I'm not going to accept this. We're going to negotiate this and really just kind of push back on people. Okay. And it was great. I learned a lot.
One question I have for you is, how did you decide on your outfit?
I wanted it. So the community around my podcast is very come with me, let's figure this out together, right? That's the whole vibe of it. So I purposely did not want my outfits to be too over the top. I wanted it to feel really relatable, we're all girlfriends. I wanted the women that were in the audience to feel like they could easily be on the stage. So I didn't go over the top with outfits. I wore sneakers the entire time and blazers and jeans, and I was comfortable. And I wanted to make sure that the women that were there felt like they could dress however they wanted to. So some people were in cocktail dresses and heels, and some people were in zip up sweatsuits with sneakers on, and that's exactly the vibe that I wanted. Right. But I knew if I put too much intention into being I need to be this polished over the top version of me, that's just not my personality, but also that it would make me feel more distant from the women that were in the community. And one of the intentions of the event is to show people that if I can do this, they can too.
So
it felt more raw.
I was actually watching all your stories on Instagram. Yeah. I was looking forward to the anticipation of the outfit you were going to choose, because I was interested to see how you were going to represent yourself. And now for the very first time, you're formally introducing yourself on stage, right? And who did you want? I was interested to see what you picked for that reason, because you've got all these styles about yourself, and it's always very relaxed and relatable and casual. Does a big stage in front of under 100,000 1,000 people is well, what do you pick? Am I still going to do joggers? I think about that. What would my main stage outfit be if I'm coming out?
It depends on your intention. I actually love that you brought that up too, because it completely depends on the feel that you're wanting within your community. If I wanted to feel like I was on stage and this was my thing and it was about me more, I think I would have dressed differently. But because I wanted it to feel very like comfortable and casual, and I was going to be jumping around, like I was like sprinting up and down the aisles all the time, and I was like bouncing around everywhere. I wasn't standing there like wanting to be a presence, but I really wanted to feel super connected to the community. And I think that a lot of people could see themselves in me.
They already
can.
Choosing that's why you are so important to so many people, and like your message, because they can relate to you. And I was like, I just can't wait. Yeah. And so,
because like we went to the same event in August all together. Yeah. So what was the difference in the vibe between like more of a networking? Was it more like a networking event? Was it more like connection, or what was the big intention behind it?
Yeah. So the podcast community itself is very like, come with me, right? Like I mentioned. So the women in my community value transparency and connection above everything else. So
what does that mean?
Genuine connection. Transparency meaning like keeping it really real.
Yeah, just like give like one example for people who might not know what those words mean to. Some of our listeners are they may not know this space specifically.
Yeah. So transparency means like keeping it real, right? Like as in like being very open and honest and not trying to be what you think that you should be. And part of that is what people could wear, but also even the speakers that we had were a variation of different tenure of speakers, backgrounds, ages, stages of life, ethnicity. Like, I mean, it was very diverse in terms of our speakers. Right. And that was because I really wanted people that were going to be very real and genuine to themselves, knowing that all of them are so drastically different personality-wise from each other, because my intention was I wanted women that were sitting in the audience to be able to see themselves in another person's story, right? That's where transparency comes in of like, I don't want to have like the best keynote speaker that's just like has this very polished presentation, because that doesn't feel like there's connective tissue with the audience.
And I always believe you can't really connect unless there's a feel, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? And then the connection piece was like, I wanted to hug and personally meet as many people as I possibly could, but I wanted them to make friends with each other. So we would curate opportunities for them to always be connecting with each other there. And that was super important to me. And that was the main goal.
When you hug, you're a hugger and you hug people. So now you're like becoming a professional hugger. Because that's just who you are, right?
When you should add that on your Instagram bio.
No, I'm serious. Like,
I
mean that because I can speak from experience that when I went to your event here at Red Rocks a couple months ago, you ran up to everyone, even across the parking lot. I'm like, oh shit, that person already knows Kacia. No, they didn't. You just ran at them and hugged them, and it was to the point where I was like, I want to know her like that. Right? And so I think of you as a professional hugger where you disarm, because I am not one. And I actually, until recently, don't like when people touch me. Yeah. Lindsay was my first person I would hug. So when I'd see you, I'm like, ooh, I do really want to get one. Like, and I want like the extra one for the super important people in your life where you're like, because there are different types of hugs. And like, you will like straight, no, you know what I'm talking about though. Like, they're like, oh my God, it's so good to meet you. And then it's like a little extra because you're like, I know you a little bit better than others. And you're like, yes. Yeah. But point being is, what do you do when we're in such a world where there's our space, physical space and touch? Like you're giving, in my yoga classes lately, I've been giving permission whether or not I want physical touch. So I'm wondering, when you hug these people and you can feel them tense up, because you might feel them in your arms kind of tense up, do you let go? Or do you just keep like a bear hug in there? So like a submissive.
Well, because one of the things, I love this. This is so funny. I've probably done like hundreds of interviews. I've never been asked this. Okay, so it's interesting because one of the things that I believe is that all of us choose how we want to show up in the world, and our life is a testimony of what's possible for other people in terms of how much we crank up the volume on our own personality, how authentic we are to ourselves. Like that example is literally needed. To me, I am an extrovert. I'm ridiculously outgoing. I like make up words. I'm a hugger. So I'm going to be fully myself, and I understand that some people are not going to connect with that, and that's not my responsibility to worry about it. If I show up as myself, that's giving somebody else permission to show up as themselves too, and I think we just need more examples of people that are fully lit up. And even back to, Lindsay, your question earlier of like different events and what our intentions are. The other events that I've been through or been at, the host has a different intention. And if they stand fully in their own power, that's why the event's so great. I'm not going to do it the way another host would do it. And that's exactly why we need the examples of all of these different people. Because some people are going to connect with someone who has more elevated style than I do. It's just not my vibe, right? And so it's almost like, what if we just decided it's our responsibility to be ourselves, right? So if you know, even Chelsea, if you're someone who's like, I don't like physical touch, and you want to be like, I permission to touch me or not, right? And that's your vibe. People need to see someone do that. Not my vibe at all, right? I don't care if you're not a hugger. I'm coming in hot, and then you won't like me.
The thing.
You know what I mean?
I'm like, I'm not into this. I'm doing it. Oh my god! And then eventually, like, you learn you might like it.
Yeah.
It took me. I really in the last 4 years learned to like physical touch, and now I'm at a point where I'm feeling comfortable with it. That I'm like, I want one to like. I don't just want a Kacia hug. Like I want a Kacia like extra special sauce kind of hug, right? Where it's like no. And then because people can read hugs. We were standing in the circle like judging one another, like, oh, she must know her because she really, you know what I mean? Like you could tell. And so it is a commodity of sorts, right? How many people wanted to stand in line and hug you at your event? I bet there was a couple, right?
Oh, yeah. I stood for like 3 hours hugging people and talking to them. But again,
did you ever think that would be a thing? Like in high school, if you're the person who you are today in high school and everyone knew you as like a hugger and you're like just the same version, would anyone be surprised that you had like a hugging booth for like 3 hours at your first public event?
Probably not. I feel like I've cranked up the volume more on being myself, which is something that I think all of us can do as like we gain more self-awareness. It's just being the fully expressed version of you. I don't think that people that have known me for 25 years are surprised by what I'm doing. I think I've kind of always had this feeling in me of wanting to make an impact in a certain way, and I feel like I'm literally just starting. So, you know. I
have one more question. I'm sorry I'm hogging this. What did it feel like when you probably have a snapshot moment in your mind sitting on stage.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, self, this is that moment. Take that snapshot, like click your eyes and like remember the stage and being on the stage and looking out on the audience. But can you tell me what it felt like? Like, what did it feel like? Don't give me like, does it feel tingly? Does it feel like butterflies in your stomach? I'm trying to like get to feels.
Yeah. I think it's such a such a deep pride feeling of just like warmth of knowing, because you're the person, to anyone listening into this episode right now, you are the only person who knows what it's like to be in your head every single second of every single day in pursuit of your dreams, goals, visions, the decisions that you're making in your life. So I know what it took to get here. And I know all of the times that I wanted to give up. And I know all of the times that I was like, am I capable of this? Or where I'm ugly crying on my bathroom floor and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I know better than anyone about all of those times because I'm the one that's pep talking myself to stay after and stay consistent and keep showing up. So it's almost like when you get to a vision that you've had on your heart for a really long time, it's just like any dream that's coming true in real time where you remind yourself, like, it's just this deep pride that nobody can ever give you that. You can't buy it. Nobody can gift it to you. Nobody can give it to you on a silver platter. It's like you have to earn it. And it's such a deep, just warmth feeling. And I think I also let myself be very present intentionally where my feet were. So I wasn't worried about the next speaker or what was coming up next. I actually had no idea. Every time I went on stage, I had no idea what I was going to talk about until I got on the stage. And
why did you choose to do it like that?
Because I wanted to be in the moment, because I wanted to be an example of someone that wasn't so structured and scripted. And I wanted to see like what I felt like people were connecting with and then I could go that direction.
You wanted more of a challenge, right?
I wanted a challenge, but I wanted to feel it. Like I wanted to be there. And I know that my skill set, I'm very comfortable with just kind of like speaking off the cuff.
Right.
And so I wasn't worried about having something really structured. But there was one specific time. So Jamie Kern-Lima is the founder of IT Cosmetics. She sold her company for $1.2 billion to L'Oreal and became the first female CEO in L'Oreal history. She's my favorite entrepreneur, not because of what she's accomplished, but because she's all about bringing other women to the table. Like she practices what she preaches. Like, for example, when Oprah is like, hey, let's do this series together. Her and Jamie did it. She's like, if I can bring another person with me. Like everything she does, she brings someone else. So when she reached out wanting to be part of this event, I was like, what? The actual F. And I was so emotional about it leading up to it. And when she came through the back door, so I surprised the audience and they didn't know that she was going to be a surprise keynote speaker. She flew herself in, all this, just wanted to be part of it. I did this live video from the stage having women in the community thank her for giving books to the swag bags because she had contributed 500 books to all the swag bags. And I was like, you guys, like, let's do a thank you video to Jamie. So I was on the stage, like, taking a selfie video, and they're like, we love you, Jamie. Thank you. And then from the stage, I was like, oh my gosh, is that Jamie Kern Lima? And she walked in through the back, and she jumped up on this little podium, and she's like, Kacia, I love you. And I felt my whole body. The only other time I've ever felt this is when I was walking down the aisle to get married, where it felt like my whole, like my guts, like my guts and my heart just like dropped into my lower stomach, and I just started crying because it was like the weirdest, like, holy shit, this is someone who I look up to and admire so much, that just wanting, like, from following me on social media and us being connected through my podcast, she wanted to surprise these women to be part of this first event. And I was like, she gets paid 6 figures to keynote speak, and she just did it for us.
Wow.
And I was like, what the actual F? You know? So, like, pride is the feeling, and warmth, and then just like, holy shit, crying, wanting to pee your pants, like you're gonna throw up because you're so excited. That's how I felt.
Okay, so we want to feel like we pee our pants.
We want to be able to manifest all the senses. Like, you got to know what you're like striving for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's whatever happens to you when you're excited, right? Like, I am like, like, I just get like this. Other people don't express themselves that way, you know?
Yeah. I want to circle back to what you're saying about fully expressing yourself and being you. So I feel like we've both done so much personal development work, and we're so self-aware, but then sometimes it's almost like too self-aware, and then am I trying to be this person that I think I should be in order to be a successful podcaster or whatever you want to do? And even with like podcasting that we've been doing for a year, someone's like, I don't like your voice. I'm like, okay, I gotta change my voice. So I was like, I don't like this. Like, okay, I guess we can't do that. So like, how do you get past that and just be able to be yourself all the time?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of work to pretend, and I don't want to waste energy going around in my life acting and pretending. I don't want to waste the energy. It's part of it is literally just thinking of your life like you have an energy tank. Where's your energy going? I don't want to give lip service to saying like my friends and my family or my husband are my priority, and then I have no energy to give to them. I don't want to say I care about this mission and making an impact when I'm giving energy to somebody who doesn't like my podcast or thinks that I'm a whatever, right? I don't want to use the energy. So it's from a tactical perspective, but then it's like I really go back to this root feeling that our life is a testimony of what's possible for other people. So somebody has to see it done your way, with your flaws, your quirks, your voice, your experience, your lack of experience, your flaws, your strengths, like all of it. Like I just think that like that's our responsibility as humans, is to be an example so somebody else can borrow belief and say, if this girl can do it with these circumstances and this personality, then I can do it too. Like, I got asked to speak at a business conference about funnels, and I was like, I don't even know what the F a funnel is.
Ooh, I was like,
I
would love that.
And you know what my talk would be called? F the funnel. I don't even have an effing funnel. That's what my talk would be.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, I wish I was in like that. Like as a, like here is one random we're like noun. Describe it and give a keynote speech on this.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. So I think it's also just like understanding your strengths are unique to you. Your vision is unique to you. So it's your responsibility to put this out into the world in a way that only you can do it. And I just take the weight of that responsibility, and it helps me stay consistent, and it helps me not water myself down, because I know for sure that I'm not right for some people. And it's not that I don't care what people think, because I'm a human. Of course I care what people think. I'd rather have people like me than not. But it's not my responsibility to try and morph myself and water myself down to be this lukewarm version of me, because nobody vibes with lukewarm either. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. And I feel like because we both grew up with Instagram and social media. So like you have to put out a public persona sometimes. And sometimes I feel like I have to like amp it up because this is what people want. So without social media, I feel like maybe we would be a little bit of a different person because there's not so many expectations.
Yeah. And it depends on how you view it, right? Where it's like, it's so easy to get caught up in like the algorithms and what's everybody else doing. But that's also why this is a gift, why I'm so obsessed with podcasting, because you're not worried about what's the hook that you're going to put, or is like Instagram going to push your video out or not. Like it's podcasting. You just get to be yourself. And this is the platform where you can be more raw, and people want you to be more real, because they're putting their headphones in, they're listening to you while, they're cruising around in their car or like walking their dog, doing laundry. Like you get to have that intimate connection. So that's also why I like
it. Feels very powerful. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like, it feels very powerful. Like, whoa, you don't realize. And then people, like, for example, yesterday was the anniversary of my dad passing, right? And I've said that because that's some of the reasons why Halloween, it's not, I wish I could love it more than I do, but I don't. But I have those feelings associated. I went to a house. A friend of mine made dinner last night, and she already knew, and like her actions were based on what she knew. But the power of the spoken word and someone listening to it, and you don't even know, like. I can't imagine let me say is what it feels like from your perspective to know that you have all these people who listen, and then on a positive note, they're spreading this message that we all agree to, right? And it's kind of, and I was thinking about it, the way in which you speak, it reminds me of like preacher and like some spirituality, right? And the way in which you do, but I think you're preaching a message that a lot of us believe and like, share and like are trying. So it gives me hope that like,
so many people are connecting with you, then that gives us hope that there's like way more people out there that
spreading the message that we all believe, that like it's okay to be ourselves, and like good things actually come as a result of feeling comfortable and confident enough to like we're navigating new spaces, and it's like I don't even know who me is right now.
Well, and because you're in like you're constantly like evolving as you are gaining more self-awareness and stepping into it because of your confidence, right? So you guys doing a podcast for a year, it's like every single time that you show up and keep a promise to yourself, it's like you're putting a deposit into your confidence bucket. When you feel more confident, it's not that you don't care what other people think about you or their perception of you, because you are a human, but you just care what you think most, because you're like, this is my vision, this is the way that I want to show up in the world. I trust that my example is going to help someone else, whether that's one person or 1 million people. It doesn't make a difference. And I think that if you can stay true to that as you evolve and grow, and not let yourself have a distorted view of who you are and just keep it really honest, people can feel that. Which is why even like my favorite podcaster in this space is Trent Shelton, who spoke at my event, and he had a torn Achilles while he was at the event, and he stood at our VIP night for 3 hours taking pictures and chatting with people on his torn Achilles. And I went up to him at one point, I was like, Trent, like, you can, like, we'll get you out of here, you can leave. Like, he was like, Kacia, the way that you show up for your women in your community is also the way that I want to show up, and like this matters to me, like I'm here, I'm good. And I was like, that, as a guy who's got millions and millions and millions of downloads and followers and accolades and income and all this stuff, just got picked up by the brand new podcast network, just freaking crushing it. But like, he's the same that he was back when one person was listening, with just a more elevated confidence, and he's more eloquent in how he speaks, but at his core. And unfortunately, he's the exception to the rule. But I'm like, that's what I'm attracted to, is people that are embodying that despite what they've accomplished. They just keep it real. And I want to be that person,
Right. I have one question. I'm sure you've got follow-up stuff. But what does your creative process look like?
So it's creating space for me to let myself think, but I have such a pulse on my community where, like, to create, for example, content or podcast episodes, a lot of it is just listening to my community, right? It's like, what are the questions that I'm getting texted? What are the questions that I'm getting DM'd about? And that's what I'm going to create content around, because I want, like, part of the reason that I'm putting a message out into the world is because I love it selfishly. Like, I love doing it. It's super fun and fulfilling, regardless of the outcome of it or regardless of people's reactions. And I think there's something that's beautiful about loving the art of something without even getting the applause. But I do it because of the fact that, like, I want to truly help people. So what do they want help with? I'm just going to listen to them, and then I'm just going to create what they wish existed. And that's how I've built all of my products, programs, services, events, merchandise. Like, anything I've done has been having a pulse in my community and literally just asking them what they want and then creating it and just doing it in my way, I
love that. I mean, you're also the queen of pivots.
Yes, this is true.
So, okay, like, let's say someone, because I know you had success in network marketing and you had a corporate job, and you have, this is just an assumption, like maybe like revenue or like money, on a backup plan, just in case the next one doesn't work. So let's just say someone's trying to pivot into something new and they don't have like money to fall back on, and it's kind of like, this is do or die. Like, do you have any tips about how to do that pivot?
So I have very, very strong opinions about not doing what unfortunately has been made very sexy in entrepreneurship, which is like jump and the net will appear. I am not someone who's ever going to tell someone to quit their job and celebrate them quitting their job if they don't have something on the side. So I am very comfortable personally with risk, but that's also because I've built up my confidence and risk tolerance from doing risky things and it working out, right? But for most people, I think the problem that they run into is they want to get out of their W-2 job and they want to be an entrepreneur, for example. So they just get to the point where they are able to quit with no reserves, and then they put all of this pressure on this business being super successful and they have no other way to pay their bills. And people can feel the desperation, and you're not as creative when you feel like you're crunched into this, like, I have to make this work. So you're holding on to it so tightly, and people can literally feel the tension and friction with that. So I'm always a big proponent of, like, try something on the side and see what you think about it. Do you love it? What's the feedback on it? Can you create a business from that? And do it on the side of having something else that can actually support you in the meantime. Everything that I've done has been on the side. So for example, I had, to speak to the network marketing business, I had a network marketing business that was growing by like $100,000 a year when I was in it. It was on paper, I was getting to speak to like thousands of people, and I had all these things on paper, but internally it didn't feel aligned anymore. I wasn't going to jump and just quit that thing when it was supporting both my husband and I, like financially, as he was becoming a dentist. Like, that would have not been smart. And so instead I decided to start my podcast on the side while still building that, with the intention of, let's build a community. And then I think if I could build a community there, then I could ask the people in that community what they want. And then I can focus on creating that thing on the side of doing this full time. So everything has kind of been on the side for me. It doesn't look that way, but that's how I've created also multiple streams of income. So I'm not requiring that a launch goes super well and then I'm betting everything on that. I've tried to figure out how can I have different silos. So to the person listening into this that's like panicking about something, do another job. Like, why are you making this seem like that's not success? To me, I'm like, success to me is feeling fulfilled and liking the person that I am in pursuit of those goals. So like, if you're so stressed and it's coming out in your marriage and you don't have any time for your friends or for your family or whatever, like, is that worth it? Because our days are numbered here, and like, no outcome is ever guaranteed, and we get so freaking focused on the shiny object. Let me get here and then I'll feel successful. Like, if you don't like your Tuesdays, girl, like, let's figure out how to fix that,
Yeah, I know. I like my Tuesdays. Actually, I love my Wednesdays.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say the same.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your next big pivot or transition?
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. So when we did the event, I asked myself the question again, which I always go back to, is if I could be doing anything 1 year from now, because I can't get caught up in a 5-year vision. I have no idea what the hell I'm going to be doing in 5 years. But 1 year from now, how do I want to spend my time? Like, what problems do I want to be solving? Where do I want to be, like, sharing my gifts with the world? Who do I want to be helping? And I ask myself a lot of that, of like, what do I want it to feel like? And I got a lot of clarity that I just really love in person. I think I'm a little Zoom fatigued. I've done memberships, and I obviously do podcasting. I've done programs and things, and I just want to be with people in person. So the big pivot is I dropped my intro, because sometimes you have to also create space to do that new thing. So I just decided to close out at the end of 2022 my introduction podcast course, which was designed to take people from idea to launching their show. We're dropping that to create more space to do a live event annually, but also pop-up events, retreats, a lot of stuff in person. My focus is to grow my own show to 1 million downloads a month, and to then eventually join a podcast network and get paid to podcast. That's kind of the vision that I have, big picture, and which means I had to give up things that aren't aligned with that, right? It's like asking yourself, is what I'm doing now getting me closer to that vision of where I want to go or further from it? And I'm like, if I'm doing all of these courses and I don't have enough time to create space to go fly to places and do events and figure out how to do that, then I can't say that I really gave it a go. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm focused on, in person and growing the show.
That makes sense, because you are such a people person. So I can't even imagine how hard it is for you to stay home and have to like do everything virtually.
I'm a big extrovert, for real. I'm like, get me around people.
And I'm like, oh, we can't hug through the screen.
So good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll see you soon. And
Not soon enough.
Not soon enough.
Yes.
And I know your next Empower Her is in Denver next year in September, right?
Yeah. I'm so excited about it. It's September 22nd through the 24th in Denver. So we did like a ticket sale for people that were at the event and like a quick thing, but tickets won't even be going on sale till spring. But we are pumped. I think we're going to like quadruple the size. So It's going to be wild. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will be able to make this one because it'll be in Denver and I can Go right down the street.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Okay.
I can't
Thank
wait.
you, Kacia.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. We do.
We do.
Disclaimer. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The stories and statements expressed herein are experiences and opinions. They may not represent the views of the production studio or the hosts. If you disagree with our content, that's okay. No podcast is perfect for everyone.